Hello and welcome to an InkDependence.com brief video review and water drop test. Today we've got Anderson Pen's Wood Violet. This is the purple ink in the collection. There's a better representation of it maybe. There's a little bit of, oh hey look at that, a little bit of sheen when you have it on there. This is on the Memnosine pad papers, and so you're going to see a little bit of sheen on here. I don't know if it's really a sheen. It might just be a little bit of reflection. It could go either way. A little bit of gold in there, I think. So, maybe a little bit of sheen. These are the inks that were remastered for Anderson Pens by Scribal Workshops. So if you're familiar with those inks, you might be familiar with what these are going to look like a little bit. These all do flow a bit better than they used to in the Scribal Workshops line. I thought those were too dry. This one is merely slightly dry, just a little bit on the dry side. I had this in a couple of pens. It was in this Artista Crystal, which I don't see on my desk right now. Let's see if it's in this here box. Here it is. This one right here. I messed up the nib on this one, so I've replaced the nib with a Franklin Christoph nib, which is a, it says a medium on there, but it really feels more like a fine. In any case, it's, I don't know, pretty medium sort of flow on that pen, so a little bit dry. You can see there it well, it just kind of looks a little bit light, a little bit sketchy. But in the Delta Unico, which has a much wetter nib, you end up with a much better flow, and so definitely put this in a nib that's at least a little bit on the wet side. It'll be a dark purple, but it'll flow much better. I didn't see any problems with bleeding, feathering, or spreading on copy paper, which is good for those of us who have to deal with copy paper sometimes. This one works just fine. Also, I say that I didn't see any sheen or shading, but it does do a little bit of shading. It does do a little bit of sheen. I've only just noticed the sheen literally right now, flashing this under the light. So, you're not going to see a whole heck of a lot of sheen. It's not a thing that's going to show up much. But a little bit of shading, yeah, you'll see that. It is well behaved, all that jazz. Here's the swatch. And here's Scraggles the dog. She wants to be on the video. Alright, here we go. Come on, Scraggles, I'm doing a video here, buddy. Alright, so there's the ink swab, sort of smeared around. You see a little bit of that gold sheen right in here. That's interesting. Alright, there you go. But if you really have to see it, you have to zoom in on the camera to see it. So there you go. I wouldn't count on seeing it much. I didn't have any other real purples lined up when I was doing this review, and I don't now. Purple's not an ink I use very often. The closest is probably going to be this Levenger Pomegranate, which has got a real nice gold sheen. Yeah, look at that. Turns nice gold there when you get the light on it just right. So that's kind of a purpley, sheeny red thing. Looks a bit like a pomegranate. Nothing else is really even close to this purple. But a lot of interesting inks there represented. So there's that. Alright, let's do the water drop test, the ostensible purpose for these videos. And here we go. Yeah, a lot of it swirling away. Not really expecting any particular water resistance on this ink. You know, one of those things. That's a nice little thing there. I'll take a picture of that. There we go. You'll see that single on InkDependence.com for the review. Alright, let's go ahead and blot this away. Blot, blot, blot. And yeah, most of it kind of coming away, even bits that were just barely exposed to water. So there's a lot of purple there. Not a whole lot remaining, although it is mildly legible. I imagine when it dries, you're not going to see a whole lot of this, but it's there a bit anyway. Here's the chromatography for this particular ink. You can see it started down here and fled up this way. A little bit remaining behind, more maybe than in some other purples. Purple's not a very good color for ink resistance, or water resistance rather, in my experience. You have some that are impossible to clean out, and then you have some that just don't have any water resistance at all. This one's a little bit in between maybe, but on the no resistance side. Just a little bit of maybe pink up there at the very tips of those two horns, just sort of purpley purple in the middle. So there you go. That's Anderson Pen's Wood Violet. Alright, so this has been the Wood Violet. You'll find this on the Anderson Pens website in bottles and in samples. They have 3 ml samples. They look like this. I'm a big fan of these little samples. I have a lot left of this one. This might be one that I don't know, pass on. Maybe my sister would like this, actually. She really likes purple. Me, not so much, but she does. I also hear that this might be Lisa Anderson's favorite recently, so do check this one out. Put it in a mildly wet pen. You're going to have a good time with this purple ink. So, to see the full review and lots of pictures, go over to InkDependence.com. And if you like what I do here and would like to help out with the efforts of InkDependence.com, please go over to Patreon.com. Consider being a patron. Every little bit helps. just a little bit a month can really help me out in the long run. So there you go. Please hit up those websites, and I will see you around. Peace out.